Hey everyone, Lisa Cash Hansen here. I'm the founder of Mompreneur Mogul and the author of Get Famous, the most amazing mom bloggers resource on the planet. So thank you so much for joining us today. In this video episode, I have a ton of questions that I need to answer because you guys have been posting them like crazy. So I'm going to try to get right into it, but let me just tell you what we're going to talk about today. We're going to discuss traffic, how to make more time for social media regarding your blog. We're going to address a specific blogger's problems, why she's not getting more traffic. Well, you'll find out in the questions. And there's something very, very important that literally just hit our industry today, and I posted about it on my blog. It was actually in Adweek. I don't want to tell you everything. You're going to have to go read the post, but let me tell you, if you are a blogger and you're trying to make relationships with advertisers and you're trying to make money from ads, you really need to read this post, okay? It's a post regarding integrity and what can happen if you don't watch everything that's happening with your business. You know, the awesome thing about us as bloggers or entrepreneurs is we run our own business, and the bad thing is we run our own business. That basically means that everyone is subject to how we conduct ourselves in this business. And if you don't have everything, if you're not watching everything carefully, bad things can happen, and that will have a ripple effect. Not that you can't overcome that, I believe you always can, but please check out the post on my blog. You'll know it because it talks about Panera Bread, alright? So there's a little hint. Okay, so let's get right into the questions that you guys have been asking regarding your blog today, alright? The Lucky Wife, Anne from the Lucky Wife, said, I'd love some tips about increasing traffic on using Twitter, Facebook, and gaining new followers. She said, I stink at social media. I'm sure you don't stink. You might just need a few tips. One thing is I can't be consistent. How do moms do it? I have 2 young kids at home. My blog activities happen around their schedule, and I work part-time, not to mention regular household responsibilities, which I get behind. I have blog posts, but I'm sure that's not enough. And then she wants to know more things about LinkedIn. So I'll try to address everything for you, Anne. Number 1, regarding the time, you're totally not alone. I had another blog post about scheduling time and tools that you can use that will help you, so you probably need to check that out, or I'll see if I can find it and send it to you as well. But we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and believe me, I only have one, and Matilda is a full-time job. She's 14 months old, so I can totally relate to that. What I would tell you is, I don't know what time your kids get up, but let's just say mine gets up at 6:30 in the morning or something like that. Well, if you'll schedule an hour for yourself before they get up, or an hour for yourself after they go to bed, and I know that sometimes it's challenging because we're so tired from everything we've done during the day, but if you will take the time to do that, you'll find that that will help you a lot, because maybe it's not that you don't have the time, it's just in when you're trying to do it, and it might not be convenient because you have so many other responsibilities, and you don't have to have a full hour. You could use a half an hour. Okay, so my advice to you would be to take a look at your schedule, or maybe you could get your husband to take the kids, or if you don't have a husband, your mom or sister, whomever, take the kids for, you know, a half hour a day, or let them go play, you know, with a neighbor or something like that. I don't always advise that. My thing is, I just get up earlier before Matilda does. That way it's quiet, I can work on things, and I don't have any interruptions. So try that with your time, see if that helps. The other thing is increasing Twitter conversation. So here's the deal with social media. I have so much to share, but you know the video is going to get super long, so here's the quickest tip, okay? Social media is just like any other networking event, all right? If you go into a networking event and someone speaks to you, do you ignore them? No. If they ask you a question, do you answer them? Yes. Well, so many times on social media, especially on Twitter, we'll get questions. Now, I know if you have a lot of followers, like my followers are starting to grow more, so sometimes this is more challenging for some more than others. But if they ask you a question, answer. If you can be helpful, be helpful. It's about relationships. So if you want to increase your following on social media, then number 1, you need to respond when people talk to you. You need to be helpful to them. You need to also promote their messages, because, you know, most people love to think about themselves. We don't like to admit it, but we're the most important person in our whole life. So we want other people to feel the same way. So if you help promote their message, they're going to be thankful, they'll be appreciative, and they'll be more apt to follow you. Okay, so try that. The best way to promote your blog through LinkedIn. Okay, so on LinkedIn, there are some groups. I actually started one, so if you do have a business or you're an entrepreneur, I have one on there. It's called Women Entrepreneurs Who Change the World. Just up top where it says groups, search there, type that in, Women Entrepreneurs Who Change the World. I'll actually try to include a link in this post. You can join that. So the best way to promote your blog is to join groups on LinkedIn. Well, that's one of the ways, but join groups on LinkedIn. There are some mommy blog groups. Just hunt for bloggers in the search box for groups, and you'll find a lot, okay? Join those, join the discussions, answer questions and answers that pertain to blogging. You can search for those as well. And I'll have to do, like I said, a more in-depth thing on LinkedIn. I don't have time in this video to get to that, but those are my tips for that, all right? So hopefully that will help you. Gail asks, how important do you think it is when trying to grow a blog to reply to comments people leave? You know, here's the thing with that, Gail. Again, as you get larger, you may not always be able to do that, but let me ask you, if someone came up and said, hey, Gail, you know, what do you think about the stress? And then you just were like, and you never answered, do you think that would help that relationship? Probably not. So it's the same thing if they ask you a question on your blog. Now, you know, I just had a feature on Sits Day, which was so cool, and many of you are here because of that. And I know I haven't been able to get back to everyone, but I do try. So if I missed you, please forgive me. But yeah, get back to people, answer them, respond. People love it when you speak to them, and it helps build a relationship. Just like in any friendship, if your friend talks to you, they want you to talk back. It's the same thing. Just because you can't see the person, right? You like that baby gate back there? That's cute, huh? Just because you cannot see the person, okay? That doesn't mean that they're not a real person, and that doesn't mean that they don't desire your interaction, that they don't wish to have a conversation. So give it to them. Help them. So yes, I think it's important, Gail, to answer your question. All right, and then my last question comes from Shauna. She said she has a mommy blog called Motherhood on the Rocks. And this is such a fascinating question. I'm sure many of you feel the same. I was looking for ways to increase my blog traffic when I came across your blog. I appreciate suggestions, but what if you're doing everything you know to do, groups, communities, and she's also done a guest post, she's saying, and you don't see any increase in traffic. And then she goes on to talk about her traffic. Okay, so this is not a shameless plug because I don't have any shame, but you need to get my book first and foremost because A, it's cheap, B, it's helping a ton of people. Just look on the success stories and you'll see what it's done for others. So get my book, okay? That's number one. Now, the next thing is, Miss Shauna, I checked out your blog, and what I saw, unless I'm missing something, is I don't see anything on the top that says home, nor do I see anything on the top that says blog. And so I'll tell you what happened to me. I went to visit you, I checked out a blog post, and guess what? I was totally stuck. I couldn't get out unless I clicked on one of the top things, which you had reviews and some other things, but I could not get back to your other blog post. And so I'm going to use this analogy for you, okay? And this isn't, I'm not saying this is the total answer to your question, but this is a big part of it. Have you ever driven down the road and there's a store that you really want to go to, right? And you try to pull in, but they've got some kind of funky median somehow, and you can't get into that store, or you missed it, or you're way over on this side, and for whatever reason you can't get to the store. I don't know about you, but that's happened to me. I've turned, and then there's this honker flippin' median right in the way, and I can't get to it. And then I've made a turn, or I've done some things. Well, there's something wrong with that store that they didn't pay to have an entrance or whatever, right? And it's hard to get to it. So what did I do? Well, in many cases, I left. That could be happening to you. Maybe you might have a visitor or some traffic, but once they get there, they don't stay, which will put your bounce rate through the roof, or they don't find your blog user-friendly. Now, I'm going through some changes with my blog right now, and you guys will see some of those hopefully in the coming month. You know, I have some user issues as well, so make your blog user-friendly, okay? Because if it's not, it's challenging. They don't know where to go, they don't know what to do, they're all over the place, they get lost, they can't find what they're looking for, they get frustrated, and they just bounce right off. They're like, well, I'm bouncing off this. So Shauna, for you, two things. Put the home button on there, and then put a blog button too, so that no matter where I am in your blog, I can just go right up to the menu and land back on your an issue today with my seat, then I can land right back on your homepage or your blog, okay? So that's number one. The other thing is, I'm sure if I examined what you're doing, maybe we would find something missing somewhere. So regarding traffic, I heard a really cool thing the other day. You know, something you can do when you're creating your blog post. They tell you to post every day or weekly, and everybody has a different take on that. Now for me, sometimes I post once or twice a day, sometimes I post twice a week. It just depends on when I feel like posting. I'm not real rigid with that. I know some people are. It's not my personality, so I'm not. But anyway, that's what I would recommend. Oh, I'm sorry. So when you are, all my thoughts in my head are, when you are, and you know what this just shows you? Because Elena, you had a question about vlogging. This totally shows you that if you want to be a vlogger, you don't have to be perfect. Because as you can see, my mind goes sometimes quicker than my mouth, or vice versa, and this is far from perfect. So just get going, get started, and I'll have more tips for vlogging later. Not in today's video, but that's a quick little tidbit for you, okay? Now, anyway, back to the traffic thing. So when you are creating your blog post, right, create the blog post, and then I heard, actually, I got this tip off Derek Halpin. Hey, Derek. So what he said in a webinar that I just listened to is he kind of flipped, well, I call it flipped, the 80-20 rule. You know, they talk about promoting people. If you don't know the rule, what it says is when you're on social media, okay, you promote other people 80% of the time and yourself 20%. I'm not a big fan of numbers. That's just not my deal. I don't like to tell anybody this is how it goes, because nobody follows that anyway. I've watched people promote themselves a million times and they're still doing good. But this is what they say. Well, what Derek said that was fascinating was he said when you write the post, right, he said that you promote it, okay, so you cut back how frequently that you post, because if you don't have a lot of traffic anyway, you might not be getting comments, plus you're going to burn yourself out. So he said you write that post, so in other words, you write content 20% of the time. Like you cut it to 20% of what you were doing before. And then you promote it 80% of the time. So instead of posting all the time, you would post and then you would promote all the time, right? So that's how you do that. So try that and tell me how that works out for you. I'd be really eager to see. And also on my blog, if you type in the search right now and you just type in traffic, there'll be some other tips for you on traffic. And I'm going to look at your blog again, but Shauna, the main thing too, make that blog user-friendly. That could be affecting it somewhat, but try that 80-20 thing that I shared with you. And also, here's something interesting that I found, and you can try this. You can see what's trending in the industry if that interests you. Now, I'm not about writing for trends, but if it interests you, see what's trending and then write for what's trending, because people will be looking for that, and then they're already searching anyway, and if you have a blog post that pertains to that, well, then you might get some of the extra traffic, all right? So I hope that this video has served you guys. Oh, listen. And I know you might be watching this 3 months after I do it, but tomorrow, okay, which is, if you're watching this, will be June 28th, okay, June 28th, 2012. I'm going to put it in my newsletter. If you've not signed up for my newsletter, it's crazy easy to do. Just on my main homepage, you'll see it. Put your email in. But anyway, I'll be speaking tomorrow on an online radio show with Shirley Williams and some other guests. I'm going to send out the information to you. But I'd love for you to tune in. I'll be talking more about social media, what it means for your blog and business, and what you can do. All right? So please tune in for that. That'll be more questions and answers for you guys there. I hope this video served you. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Leave your comments below if you'd like to be featured for next week, or you have a question. Please leave your comments below and I'm happy to answer. All right? Thanks so much. You guys have a great day. Again, I'm Lisa Cash Hansen from Mompreneur Mogul. You guys are amazing, and I know that today your blog is going to have more traffic, your business is going to flourish, and there's nothing that you can't do, because I believe in you. Have a great day.